What's going on, guys? Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well. And in today's video, we have our Bad Batch Season 1, Episode 15, Part 1 finale breakdown, review, and theories and suspicions are all going to be towards the end of today's video, so stay tuned for all of that. Anyway, guys, let's just jump right on into it. This was, of course, an absolutely insane episode, and I'm just still taking it in of exactly what happened, and everything that we've seen really throughout this entire season has built up until this very moment. I think that, not to reference the Clone Wars or anything like Maul, but everything that, we've seen throughout the show really has built up until this moment of having the Bad Batch confront Crosshair and really have these two characters, or these, I guess, kind of like two characters, Hunter and Crosshair, really more specifically, interact and come to terms of exactly what's going on. Furthermore, at the very end of the episode, which we'll get there in just a moment, we learned some very huge news about Crosshair, what this could possibly mean, not only for the next episode, but also for the future of the Bad Batch. But anyway, just starting off kind of from where we left off in the previous episode, episode 14, with Crosshair and Hunter. Hunter, of course, being captured now by the Empire, and kind of almost being under the control of Crosshair. It's kind of interesting to see how the Empire just doesn't really care about like any of the clones, even Crosshair at this point, and it's just kind of, giving him free will and just kind of do whatever you want to do, almost. Of course, we later do learn, or at least the rest of the Bad Batch group, Tech, Echo, and Wrecker, and Omega, of course, all learn that Hunter has actually been transferred over to Kamino. And for that whole reasoning, I have absolutely no idea and reasoning as of why Crosshair would go to the extra mile to transport him over to Kamino. Maybe this is because it's a main clone in Empire base as of right now, aside from Daros, I'm sorry, my bad. But I guess that's really the only other idea and reasoning I could come up with as of why they would go the extra mile to bring Hunter all the way over to Kamino as of right now. Nonetheless, I'm not complaining. It's always great to see the planet Kamino, and furthermore, I really liked how they used actually some of the original soundtrack from Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, with the Kaminoan music there, which was a cool little nod there. So, really, this whole interactions, I feel like, between Crosshair and Hunter throughout this entire episode are really interesting and pretty deep. I feel like everything that Crosshair says actually means something, and it kind of begins with Crosshair hinting at the idea of, why would you leave me behind? Why would you betray me like that? And it's kind of emotional at that between all of these different members, or at least two characters here for the Bad Batch. So that there, of course, is a pretty emotional and interesting scene at that, and eventually does lead onto a whole full-on big reveal where Crosshair essentially confronts the other members of the Bad Batch all together and questioning them of why you would exactly leave him behind. Why would you guys leave me behind? I was loyal to you guys, of course, and he was taken over by this inhibitor chip. And furthermore, just kind of jumping ahead now towards what we saw there at the end of the episode. However, before we talk about that, we do actually see the Bad Batch go back to kind of Sid's place and drop Gregor off, where I guess he's just going to be kind of laying low and hanging out here at Sid's place for as of right now. I'm not really completely 110% sure if we're actually going to be seeing Sid here by the end of Season 1 at least, but we very well could see her with Season 2 as well. But that's not really the main point. That was kind of just a nice little closure, I feel like, towards Sid's character and Gregor, and I think that Gregor is going to lay low there and wait until Rex and Wolf probably come back for him there, and that's something I think we're definitely going to see in Season 2. And I did actually make a whole separate theory video on what Rex was exactly doing in the hologram and why he couldn't go rescue Gregor himself. Of course, it's being a whole Empire base, he's going to need a little bit of extra help, of course, so I can always see that whole reasoning as well. Anyways, unless that theory isn't true, then I definitely think we're going to see Wolf in Season 2 of The Bad Batch, if not in the last episode. Now, moving on to some more interesting stuff here with Omega, I have to agree with some other Star Wars fans, of course. Some of you guys were pointing out that she was just kind of annoying throughout these last couple of episodes. It was just, but Wrecker, we have to go help them. Or not Wrecker, but Hunter, we have to go help them. And he would just say yes, and that was that. The mission would go on. Essentially, it just was, she wasn't really contributing anything, and we didn't really get to do anything with her. She was just kind of, but wait, we have to go help them type of thing. I could see how a lot of fans could be annoyed by this, including myself. I was getting a little annoyed by it. Didn't really talk about it all that much. So it was actually pretty cool and interesting to see her actually contribute some stuff here towards the overall story, where it didn't feel forced and necessary either. So aside from that, now talking a little bit about here, let's get a little here into the nitty and grittier type of stuff here with General Rampart talking to Tarkin, and we do hear the Tarkin actually through the hologram say "open fire." That's kind of a direct reference to A New Hope when they first used the Death Star on Alderaan, Leia's home world, or at least adopted home world at that. But we now kind of see the full plan here of the Empire and essentially what is Project War Mantle and the last of the Kaminoan city here. And as we get some nice cinematic shots here that kind of show different parts of the city and the clone base here, and before it's blown up and blown to smithereens here. And I guess I never really would have felt sad about a place, I guess, like being blown up, I guess. But here we are. So that there is that as well. And that's something we actually saw at the very end of the episode while the Bad Batch is actually still inside. So it's got a little bit of a cliffhanger there for the next episode. And then kind of jumping back around towards what we saw here with Crosshair and not having an inhibitor chip anymore. Let's just talk a little more about the more interesting stuff here of exactly what we saw in this episode. Crosshair's inhibitor chip, for one thing, is very confusing to many fans, including myself, and it's very difficult to even see a scar there to see if it was actually essentially removed. We have Crosshair over here saying, I removed this thing a long time ago, like back in the Clone Wars at that, so that there's one idea. And then when they finally stun him and take him out, they look to see if there's any scar to see if it was actually ever taken out, and that he's just running on pure hatred, essentially, and free will of his fellow brothers, of him being abandoned from them, or what the case could possibly be here, if he's functioning off an inhibitor chip, or what it could be. In my own thoughts and opinions, it's kind of difficult to even make out a scar at that, because he has an ion blast type of scar going right there as well, so that there's pretty difficult to actually make out. So with that, with what really is there to even break down for this overall episode, I also want to note that Nalise is actually still out there, as she does seem to be with the Empire as of right now. We don't really have any, I guess, official death scene or anything like that, so I'm assuming with the Empire as of right now. So now on to some theories and suspicions, speculations, etc., of what we could possibly see here in this next episode, the season finale, part 2, episode 16, and furthermore, maybe some stuff that we could see in season 2 as well. Although, to be completely honest with you guys, I'm not really going to talk too much about Season 2 as of right now. I'm either going to hold that off for the next episode breakdown, or even a whole separate video based off of what we do see in the next episode. Nonetheless, a huge theory of mine, and I've had this huge theory, like, pretty much the entire series, aside from maybe Omega being Force sensitive and she just doesn't know it, and seeing that maybe, I definitely have to say I think that Boba Fett is going to show up and actually be, furthermore, the one that rescues the Bad Batch. Furthermore, I think if Boba Fett is going to be showing up, he's definitely going to be showing up with Fennec Shand, and at that, maybe even have Cad Bane there, maybe even like after the two, I think would be pretty interesting. They kind of almost finish up their kind of quote-unquote arc. Furthermore, another huge theory and suspicion I have for the next episode as well, it would be the return of Captain Hauser and seeing him once again with this clone uprising. Furthermore, and I think we're going to see this clone uprising throughout the entirety of the entire galaxy, as it's been said that all clones have been set off-world or sent off-world and are kind of just all over the galaxy as of right now. Or that's at least how it kind of sounds as of right now. Maybe they could all be put onto a whole nother planet, just one single planet, and from there could be, I unfortunately would be sadly to see some sort of clone genocide at that. Furthermore, aside from that, in the season finale as well, I definitely have to say I think we're going to see some sort of Force user, whether that's Ahsoka Tano, Vader, Maul, Starkiller. There's endless possibilities, honestly, at that, of who we could possibly see being some sort of Force-sensitive user, I think definitely by the end of the season 1 of the show. And furthermore, I think definitely they're going to play some sort of big impromptu role within season 2 of the show, much like we've seen with Star Wars Rebels, seeing that Ahsoka and Vader had appeared at the end of season 1 of Star Wars Rebels, and then from there play a pretty significant and big role throughout the entirety and the rest of the show. I definitely think that is going to be a huge possibility, especially seeing that this is an animated show. And furthermore, I want to just note that this animation just had me rolling this entire episode. It was just amazing, and really throughout this entirety of this show, amazing animation. We've come such a long and far way from the Clone Wars animation all the way up until now. Anyways, this this, just seeing that this is an animated show, the possibilities of cameos as far as any of that goes is honestly just endless, because all they're doing is simply just doing an animation, so it's not really like they're gonna have to find any types of castings aside from a voice actor and maybe somebody that maybe looks like the character if they do want to put them in future live action content in the Star Wars universe, kind of like we saw with Lady Bo-Katan, or maybe the new rumored casting of having Thrawn and Lars Mikkelsen. But that's for a whole nother time and a whole nother video, so do be sure you guys are subscribed to the channel and stay tuned for more future Star Wars videos and content. Guys, I want to know all of your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about this brand new Bad Batch episode 15, the season finale part 1? Let me know some of your theories and suspicions for what we're going to see here in the season finale part 2 coming next week. Of course, guys, we're going to keep you guys updated not only with Star Wars news, but we're also going to have our Bad Batch breakdowns, of course, here on the channel, so do be sure you are subscribed to that, guys. Leave a like on the video if you enjoy it, as it really does help with the channel, and check out Instagram Unofficial Star Wars for more Star Wars related content. And until next time, may the Force be with you always. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out.